Hi everyone. So meet a boy from Latvia, a youngest developer since morning, all the sessions. He is a youngest developer in our community. So I'm really excited to welcome you, Alfred. And now he's going to share about PWA. He's from Scandi. He's a mentor in Scandi. So over to you, Alfred. This is Stays.
Yes, thank you, Manish. Thank you. I'm Alfreds, yes, as said, and today I'll tell you guys a little bit more about how to modify and deploy your application, not just tell, but show. So today will be a hands-on experience, and this will be the fastest deployment and development of PWA app, which we will be watching today. So let's get started with a little bit of my presentation, which we will immediately skip to screen sharing. So how to start developing? Well, it's pretty simple. The only thing you need to type in is yarn or npm create, and then we type scan the PWA app. And let's choose a name for it. Let's say MMI, so Meet Magento India. So let's wait for it to be created. It shouldn't take too much. So any second now it will be created, and we will open it in the VS Code. While waiting, let's maybe understand what are we creating now. So we are creating a storefront for your Magento 2 store. So your Magento 2 store will be located somewhere, hosted by ReadyMage, hosted by some other company, yeah, and maybe the Nexus itself, whatever. So you're pointing your application, your storefront to your server, and so here it is. So let's open this up. So code MMI, I'm opening it up in VS Code, my favorite editor. So here we go. It's pretty much empty folder. You can see the public folder is empty, SRC is empty, nothing here. So why is it so? Well, that's because we are building a ScandiPWA theme, and we have this concept of themes, just like in Magento, where you start with pretty much empty folder, which inherits everything from the parent theme. In our case, that parent theme is the ScandiPWA itself. So we are inheriting everything from parent theme. So to prove that to you, I will start the application that will start the compilation, and we will notice that the application will still work despite having nothing in SRC and public folder. While waiting for it to compile, let's install a few extensions which will come handy. So let's install ScandiPWA development toolkit for CSA. So I'm installing it. And once installed, we also need to configure it a little bit. But before we do it, let's actually inspect our parent theme. So we can see here that we have ScandiPWA as dependency, and our parent theme is ScandiPWA. Yes, so let's go ahead and add this folder to our workspace so we will be able to reference it while coding. So let's go to MMI, let's go to Node, modules, let's select ScandiPWA here, and let's add this folder to workspace. And while we have been doing that, the application has compiled, and here we see that's working. That's a full Magento app, but without any code in our source folder. Cool. So we have added the ScandiPWA here, and we can immediately see that's pretty much that's pretty much the source folder, which is full. So in contrast to our theme, that's empty. And what we should do now is we should go ahead into preferences and find here the ScandiPWA. So now we're continuing to configure our VS Code extension. So let's click here. Let's copy settings as JSON. Let's get back here. Let's paste it in. And we should now reference the node modules here. So that will be a path to our parent theme. So let's configure that. Let's save it. And now in order to test it, we just need to press Ctrl-Shift-P or open up the command palette and type in ScandiPWA extend source component. And what should we see here is a list of components to extend. So in our case, let's get back to our site and take a look. So what we would like to modify. So of course, the first thing we would like to change is the logo. Yes, we could upload it in Magento admin because that's a Magento feature, but now we're building a storefront. So for the sake of demonstration, let's change the logo. And the colors, well, orange is not that cool. Everybody is tired from orange. That's the default color in Magento. Maybe let's switch it to something more vibrant, the color of sky, the blue one. And also, let's take a look on categories. Well, today, at this specific example, they are, I would say, a little bit like boring. So let's make it bolder. Let's make our design bold. So let's make a big category image. Let's make different product cards. So let's not waste time and get started. So the first thing we need to do is to extend the source component, and we would like to change the logo. So in our case, we will be only changing the logo type itself. So let's select that and let's leave styles as is and do not modify the component. So what we need to do is to provide a namespace, and I'm simply saving. That's because I have this ESLint extension installed and enabled. You can do the same, and we can see we can reference the original source component now, and it has a lot of logic, which is about getting information from Magento and optimizing for values set in the admin, which we don't really care about because we will be using our own logo, which we upload now. So let's, instead of referencing the original component and extending it, let's import the pure component instead from React, pure component, and let's extend it so we have nothing to worry about. Yes, so let's provide the render method here, and in this render method we will be simply rendering the image of our logo. So it should 100% have the src and some alt, which I would say Alfred's store. Yeah, that's the store we're building today. And I have prepared a little, I would say, where it is, here it is. So I have a little logo prepared so we can use it. Yeah, so here, oh shit, that's not the logo, that's the colors we will be using. I'm sorry. So here is the logo. I'm copying in the logo, putting in into the logo folder so we can see it's right here, and then we'll simply import it. So let's write an import for our favorite logo. I will show you it in just a second. So let's say logo from logo.png. So, and let's use it as the source. So I'm pasting in the logo, saving, and let's take a look. Did our page change? Indeed, the Alfred store is now appearing. That's pretty cool. So I like this logo, I like it. So I drew it, so I like it. So what we can do now is, of course, change the color palette, because who likes orange colors in the combination with blue? Almost no one. So we can see we should change main and abstract. So in order to do it, we just create the same folders here. So I create a style folder, and I'm getting in the multiple files there. So I'm taking the main, variables, and abstract. I'm copying them and putting them into my style folder. I would also need an abstract folder here. So let's take it, put it in, move, done. And now let's change colors. You remember I accidentally copied the colors, so I now won't be able to say I imagined them, but here we go. I will take some shades of blue, which I manually picked before this presentation. I'll save them, and let's go ahead and take a look if the colors change. And indeed, now everything is blue, and that's kind of awesome. So should we stop here? Of course not, because I promised you to change something dramatically. Like, let's completely change how this looks. Okay, so in order to do it, first, let's understand what does this section actually is. So we can see that's a category details. Cool, let's copy this name. Let's go here and say extend another component. So let's go ahead and choose category details. Let's say I want to change the component, and let's say I want to completely override styles. And now we can see that it's created us something. Of course, we will change the naming a little bit because I would like to override to stay like before it. And actually, let's completely remove override. Let's say we don't want to build on top. We want to completely like change how the original styles were, uh, how original styles looked like. So let's say import category details here. And I don't want to really change the logic much. So I want to keep the original logic, but I would prefer to have a little bit different alignment in the render here. I would like the category name to be separate from everything else. Would like description and name to be in different places. And also, yeah, of course, this will change something. Yes, that will do some change. Yeah, but that's not really what we're looking for. We're looking for something bolder. So I have prepared some styles for category details, which will showcase some change, which will look different. And here we go. That now looks awesome. That looks different, and that's very bold. Yeah, isn't it? The girl which sitting right next to me said that this design looks stupid because of white outline. I disagree. That looks nice. So what should we do now? Well, we can see that the cards, after switching to this bold design, the product cards now look like overcomplicated. Some buttons of compare, wish list, some potential configurable options. That's all cool. That's Magento features, but I am the store owner, which completely like I want the names to be showcased. I'm a little different. I don't want images. I want names to be like in the center of the attention. So let's inspect which element are we going to change. That's product card, of course. That's product card. So let's extend it. So let's choose a product card this time. Product card. And let's say I want to change the component and I want to override styles, ignore containers, configuration, whatever. So here we go. And let's again rename how this style is generated. So I want product card override dot style. And let's copy the name so we can later use it. So let's use the name we just declared and let's save it. Let's fix some minor ESLint errors. And now let's think of what would we like to change. So let's switch to product card component, original one, and let's scroll to some section which contains the ordering logic. So here we see render card content. So let's copy this method here. And because we're extending, we're inheriting all the logic, but let's remove some stuff from here. As I said, I don't want really to have any like brand information on my product card. I don't want to have any visual configurable options visible. And I just want my title to be present. So I'll move it out from the content section and put it up below, but that's up to styling really. Okay, I did it. So what am I missing also? I want my reviews to be completely gone. So let's take reviews here, render reviews. And in place of reviews, let's simply return null because that's valid stuff to do. So let's type in return null here. And what else should we do? Let's pretty much, yeah, let's now add some styles. So let's see how did our modifications. Okay, sure. I did some misspelling in my product card override of styles. So let's do it like so. Let's check. Indeed, it's loaded. So we can see the styles now is a little bit strange. I want this to be gone. I want my actions to be gone. So how can I do it? Let's see actions, render product actions. And I want them, lost my file. Let's close as everything else. So I want my actions to just like the reviews return null. So let's take a look. Oh, indeed, immediately reloaded. And now I want this black chino to be, or the name to be very bold, to be written just on the image itself, and I want this to be also put onto the image. So how can I do it? Well, I already wrote the styles for it, so I will just simply paste them in, and here we go. That's the styles I wanted to apply. And let's take a look. Wow, once again, that's very bold. That's big black text written right over the image of products. Cool, isn't it? Cool, isn't it? Indeed, it is cool, but it doesn't stop here. We just spent together with you guys few, I would say, moments. How much time has passed? Let's see. It's hard to say. Yeah, I don't really know. It's 15 minutes. It's just 15 minutes. So we have a lot of time to spend on application deployment. But should we spend a lot of time on application deployment? Of course not, because it's goddamn very simple. So how to do it? Well, first thing you need to get is the ScandiPWA CLI. So let's install it. I'll use Yarn. You can use NPM in your case. So use Yarn global add, and I will add the ScandiPWA CLI. So I'm adding this ScandiPWA CLI, and it's already added. Wow, that was fast. So I'm typing in ScandiPWA deploy. And what this will do is it will build our application in the production mode, and will deploy it to some active URL, which you will be able to browse. And I'll leave the link in my presentation later on for you to check out. So while we're waiting for it to deploy, we can pretty much, I will tell you just a little bit more about ScandiPWA, and then we will finish this up with Q&A if you will have some questions. So the first thing I would like to say, the ScandiPWA is very powerful because it tried to replicate the Magento features. First, we got parent themes, which is unlimited. You can build on top, on top, on top, on top, and you can style it, and you can do a theme for your like a commerce organization agency, and then use the theme for all your projects. And that would allow you to save so much time upgrading and installing, because we allow you to extend the source classes, and that's much different from writing functional components. Yeah, that's much different because you can inherit functions. That's very useful. And we have plugins and extension system, and we plan to have completely modular ScandiPWA. And what our plugin system allows you to do, it allows you to build, to add functionality to pretty much, or to wrap with a plugin, just like in Magento before, after, around any part of your application, any function in your application. So is it a class method? Is it a class property? Is it a simple function in your code? You can wrap it around and provide some functionality and override the original behavior. And this allows you to do drag and drop, or plug and play extensions, like, for example, payment method, which you just install and it works, or other stuff like integrations with third-party services like CMS providers and stuff. That's powerful, that's cool, and that's powered by Create ScandiPWA app. So I think my pretty small advertisement is over, and we can head across to our Amplify app and take a look. Hopefully it will work. Of course it didn't in terms of my logo, but let's see styles. The styles are blazing, so it's actually deployed. So what's wrong with my styles? Well, we were a little bit playing around, I would say, with the deployment configuration of this storefront application deployment, and we broke some little minor thingies, but we will fix it very soon. So don't worry, your logos after you deploy will work. It's just me not being completely prepared for this presentation. So it's fine, it's fine. Now let's go back to my presentation, and I'll share you some links which you can follow, which you can pretty much use for your own purposes. So here we go. That's first link you can use. That's the deployed site. You can browse it. There is a short link for you. It's bit.ly 3RJ68EB with EB with a capital. And we have not made ourselves responsive, so I'm not responsible for any issues on your mobile, but I hope it will still surprise you on how easy it was to develop an e-commerce storefront. That's like, it now takes like days instead of weeks or months. It's very simple. And another thing you can do is you can learn more, because I like to record videos in this same studio. You can go ahead to a YouTube channel and browse stuff there. It's like funny. Yeah, it's very easy to learn, and it opens up such broad possibilities for you guys. Also, we have weekly releases, because like Magento features are endless. The original Magento feature list is like 500 pages in PDF, and we wrote them all. We made ourselves a checklist, and we're going one by one, completing all of them. We already covered like 98% of Magento features, and most of the features uncovered are features related to layout system, which we actually don't use. So guys, ScandiPWA is the most powerful and complete Magento storefront currently available, and that's why, and we also made building it so simple. So go ahead and try it out and follow the weekly releases. There are more than 20 or 30 bugs fixed every week, and yeah, that's just, we're going for this stability, guys. So join our Slack channel. I like to answer questions, but I'm pretty busy these days, so I have my team answering questions, and our community is growing. We are more than multiple thousand people there. I don't really remember how many. And the questions are keep flowing. We keep answering them, and that's pretty useful. If you go here, you have questions, you ask them, because we can broaden our documentation. Yes, of course we can do. And you can find our links to our documentation in our, you can find links to our documentation in the GitHub repository of ScandiPWA. Just Google ScandiPWA, you will find all the links there. And with that said, I think we're finished. So it took me just over 1 minute of the estimated time, but I hope it's no problem. So do you have any questions?
Alfred, thank you so much for sharing this hands-on and the experience which you shared with everyone. I think this is very helpful for all the developer and technical guys. Really amazing, this presentation. I loved it. Apart from that, we are having some few questions I posted over the chat. One guy is asking, please share how to set up PWA on Windows.
Yes, sure. The Create ScandiPWA app is supported on Windows, so you can do the same on your Windows machine, and it should work. And if it doesn't, today and yesterday, the man from our core team is sitting and debugging it on Windows, because Windows is not as common in our company, but we try to keep it supported because of newcomers and people. So of course, it is supported. If it doesn't work, go ahead and fire the issue on GitHub for us. So we'll fix it. Yeah.
Nice. Next question is, what is the best way to get a store with ScandiPWA?
Could you please repeat the first sentence? What is the best
way to get a store with ScandiPWA?
To get installed?
A store, not
a store.
Yeah.
Okay. The best way to get a store, like in case you want to start just like me very quickly, but get the access to Magento admin, is to go ahead and try like instant deployment providers like ReadyMage. You can get an instance in 5 minutes with ReadyMage, and it's very cheap there, I believe. So and then you can point your and the ReadyMage comes specifically with ScandiPWA pre-installed, so you don't need to do nothing. Or you can take your own server on Nexus, whatever. You can install the ScandiPWA there, follow the official guide, and you can have your storefront separately and Magento separately, or you can install ScandiPWA as a Magento theme, because we support both ways. You can be a theme, you can be a storefront, it's up to you. Yeah, that's
Thanks, Alfred. I think one of your team member is asking the funny question: is there an easy way to set up ScandiPWA with Magento 2 so I can also develop Magento? I think it's Ronald's.
Oh yes, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe that's a team member. Yeah, I believe he is. So the thing is, yes, of course you can do. Of course you can install, and there's like so ScandiPWA itself. What we just tried, we tried setting up with Create ScandiPWA app. So Create ScandiPWA app is basically a way to like work with a storefront, yeah, in a storefront mode. But we got it further. So years ago, like 2 years ago, we started working with Docker setup for Magento. And it was kind of very tricky because people from community came without knowledge of Docker, without really understanding what's going on, and always failed to install the Magento on their local. And it's pain till this day. But we got around that by introducing the Create Magento app. That's a utility which allows you to deploy Magento app on your local in matter of seconds, and it works just good on Mac and on Linux. This means that we eliminated this big issue with the Docker sync and Docker volume syncs. So try it out. The Create Magento app is a very powerful tool for deploying your Magento applications on your local. It's it's a combination, it's a hybrid deployment, if you know what this means. So we run our services in Docker, and we run the Magento on your local machine, so using the PHP on your local machine, and we are versionizing the PHP. So it's very interesting stuff. Just try it out if you have time, and you will be amazed how simple it became to install Magento. But that's a little bit separate from ScandiPWA. But yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Thanks, Alfred, for explaining this. Yes, we are running out of time now, but we're having so many other questions. But guys, please connect with Alfred offline on our social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, and get your answers there. Thank you so much for Alfred sharing your knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you guys for being here. I will try to answer the questions in the chat. Yeah. So
all right.
Bye. Thank you guys.